Good morning, children. Now we are going to start with one poem, that is chapter 9 of your book, The Spider and the Fly. The poet here is Mary Botham Howitt. Now, as you all know, that when you will be writing your answers in reference to the chapter, you will also mention about the poet, that what was the role or what is the role of the poet in the story or in the poem, whatever it is. So yeah, this is the introduction part, which I have already shared the link with you about the details of the chapter from your textbooks. Now we are going to start off with the poem. Now just before starting with the poem, first we will discuss about the first things here, that this poem is called as a fable. Okay, a fable in verse. Now what do you mean by the word fable is, when we talk about the word fable, a fable here refers to kind of a story or a small story which actually is trying to intend to explain a kind of an moral lesson, and often that is done with the help of usage of animals or inanimate objects as characters. For example, here we will find in this story, in this poem, which is also a kind of a short tale only, where there are two main characters over here. One is a spider and the other one is a fly. Now we all know that these two characters are actually the characters who are, you can say, animals. Rather, they come in the category of insects and animals, but what you will find is that there is a kind of, you can say, personification done over here of the same animals as if they are just like human beings. So that is why this poem is called as a fable in verse. So when we talk about any particular poem which is said to be fable in verse, that means it is a kind of a poem in which you have inanimate objects or animals who are carrying certain qualities or characteristics of human beings, and they depict those characteristics as if they are actually human beings and not animals. So that is why this is said as a fable. Okay. Now another point that I wanted to discuss with you all is about the particular poem carrying the theme. Now the first theme of the poem is the power of flattery. Now you understand flattery? Flattery means what? When you are trying to flatter someone, when you are trying to impress someone by using good words. So that is called as the power of flattery. Now here we will get to know that how effective is flattery, or how effective, or what is the impact factor of flattery on a person, due to which the person, even if is knowing that he might get into danger, but he is so much impressed and you can say influenced by the words of flattery, that he just or she just forgets about everything. So basically in this poem we have also discussed about that how powerful this word, or you can say this factor of flattery is, that it lays a lot of impact on a human being or on a person, due to which the person actually forgets that what can be the consequences of that flattery. So it's also, you can say here, that we will get to know that it is actually a poem which depicts the common human weakness. It actually elaborates a common kind of human weakness present in the human beings, that they are taken over by flattering comments. They are actually so much of influenced by those flattering comments that they really do forget that what is going to be the resultant. It also reveals that the flattering words actually trick you to such an extent that you forget everything else. You forget all the kind of consequences that you might get to face. You might forget even the results, or you might even forget to remember or recall the dangers that you might face in future, and that may actually lead you towards your own destruction. So that is what the poem also is trying to tell over here. Now here we will find that there are two main characters in the poem. The first main character in the poem is the spider. One is the spider and the other one is a fly. So what we will find in the poem is that it is a tale which actually tells us that there was a cunning spider who actually tries to trap a knave fly, or you can say a fly who was absolutely a very innocent one, through the use of, you can say, flattery, and he was using those seductive and good words so as to flatter that fly. Now, here you will find that the poet has actually explained that flattery is so very powerful that people turn towards it even after knowing its consequences. They even, like, they are so very affected by this flattery that they get into it even though when they know about the effect of flattery. The fly states, now you will find that that initially when the spider was trying to call, or you can say lucrate or attract the fly to get into its web, the spider uses number of good words, number of words of flattery, but then too the fly actually initially was stating repeatedly that she is not going to get into his trap, and she is not going to get into his web, because she knew that the fly knew this very well, that it is a kind of a place where there are many victims present over there, and moreover there is nothing inside the web of the fly, web of the spider. But then too, and she also, the it also said that it does not want to get into the spider's web, and and also knew this very well, that if it gets into the web of the spider it will never return. But the spider has a lot of experience. Now what you can say is that in the poem we will find that the spider was only the one who had a lot of experience, and due to his experience only, he had so much experience that he was able, or you can say it was able to attract the creatures to its web. Now that was the experience of the spider only, that it was able to attract the creatures into its web. The spider knew that the power of flattery, with what you can say, the spider knew this very well, that what is actually the impact of power of flattery on someone, and thus it is also sure, that is, the spider is also sure that even though it was a kind of a denial from the side of the fly, that it is not going to come back to its den, but then too the spider knew this well, that it is sure that the fly would return to its den. And you will also find in the poem that the spider actually tries number of temptations in order to get the fly into his parlor, such as offering pretty things, winding stairs, pantry, good place to rest and everything. But he saves his, what he does is he just starts to use all these things initially, trying to catch the attention of the fly, but it was not able to. But the spider was very cunning. You will get to know that the spider uses its best bait. Best bait means the last and the most important bait to catch the attention of the fly at last. Why he keeps it, saves it for his best bait for at last? Because he knew this very well, that if nothing is going to work on it, then the last bait of his is definitely going to work on. And he was actually successful. It's written here. You will also get to know that he was so very artistic that he makes use of flattering words to bring the fly back again, and then the spider starts to use his last bait by calling the handsome and the gauzy wings and then brilliant eyes. So these words actually were the last words and which were able to definitely attract the attention of the fly, and ultimately the poor foolish thing actually entered into the web of the spider and was caught into its trap. So basically, if you talk about the foremost important theme of the poem, the only theme of the poem is this only, that is the power of flattery, or the power of flattery, where people actually get fooled and people get affected and impacted by the power of flattery, which they should not get into. Now, starting off with the content of the poem, at the very first page, in page 28, you will find there is an introduction, a long introduction given of the poet. So you will go through the poet, the introduction over here. And here, when you will be writing your answers, you will use these lines in your answers as introductory lines. It is a cautionary tale about the manner in which the innocent and the gullible can be won over by the wily and the shrewd traitors who abound in society. The poem reads like a fantasy or a fable, as the spider and the fly both act and behave like human beings. Ultimately, they act as metaphors for certain types of people who exist in society. So, this is actually a kind of a poem which will help you to know what is the impact of flattery on any particular human being. Now, we'll start off with stanza 1. Now, here the first stanza in itself talks about the words of flattery used by the spider to catch the attention of the fly, for which he says, the spider says, "Will you walk into my parlor?" Will you walk into my parlor means, will you walk into my small room? Said the spider to the fly. The spider said to the fly, "It is the prettiest little parlor that ever you did spy." Now, the spider starts to lure the attention or attract the attention of the fly by saying that this parlor, if I talk about my parlor, is one of the prettiest parlor, prettiest small room, prettiest room that you must have ever looked in your life. The way into my parlor is a winding stair. And then he is actually trying to also attract the attention of the fly by saying that when you will want to get into my parlor, you also will get to see a winding stair, a beautiful winding stair, which also is quite very amazing. And I have many pretty things to show when you are there. And then the spider says, and I, yes, got many pretty things also inside the parlor to show them to you. "Oh, no, no," said the little fly, "to ask me in vain." Now, the little fly says that this is the response. Like, you might be put up a question. There might be two questions put up. What were the different kinds of, we can say, tactics or tricks played by the spider to get the fly into its web, or catch the attention of the fly, or trap the fly into its web? Another question that will be formed is that what were the different responses which were given by the fly when the spider was using his different kinds of tricks? Okay, so this is the reply that was given is, "Oh, no, no," said the little fly. The fly said, "No, no, to ask me is in vain." That means if you are going to ask me, it's absolutely of no use. For who goes up your winding stair can never come down again. For whosoever goes up through the winding stairs will never ever come down again. "I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high." Now, this is the second attempt made by the spider. So he says that I'm really very sure that you must be really tired by soaring up so high, by flying so high all the time, buzzing here and there. Now he says, "Will you rest upon my little bed?" Now he says that I've got a very beautiful little bed and you can come and rest on it, said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains. Now he starts to draw the attention of the fly by describing the beauty of the bed and the room, saying that there were pretty curtains drawn around now that means there were very beautiful curtains drawn around. There were very beautiful curtains present all over, and the sheets are very fine and thin. That means the sheets were very fine and thin to look at. That means here the spider is talking about the bed sheets and the curtains. They were very thin, very beautiful to look at. And if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Now he says that if you want to really rest for some time at my place, I will snugly tuck you in. That means I will tightly hold on you, and then under my